It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the official Level 2 podcast, episode 5.
That's 5.
That's
if you
5
speak English.
if you speak English. Number 5, if you're watching this on YouTube at level2gamers.com, hi. If you listen to us via audio on SoundCloud, Google Play, and iTunes, hello.
Hi.
Hey. So as normally we do, let's start off with what have we been up to?
What you been doing?
I'm gonna pull the cat out of the bag here and say that we're recording this at the end of a long recording session.
Yeah, it's been a doozy today.
And I feel like we said that last time because it was after Barry had come over. We recorded, so
I kind of like doing the podcast at the end of the day because I feel like
we can be more relaxed.
Can relax a little bit, and I've already had my nausea moment today.
Yes.
During our recording session. We played a little bit of VR. We played some Windlands.
Played a lot of VR.
And I had not played Windlands before, and I was not prepared.
And I told you, because you're a little scared, because that's the one that made me blow chunks.
Yes, and
so I got physically ill.
Definitely do not have what they call kind of VR legs just yet.
Like sea legs for virtual reality.
Yeah, so
I'm going to put this in my pocket again. If you can see, I grabbed my phone again, because last time...
Mine's on the table.
If it vibrates...
I know my wife is going to probably call me, but I don't care.
Yeah, we're running a little late right now.
We got to get to it. So I was very nauseous earlier from playing Windlands, and we have recorded a lot today, at least 8 episodes, and that's not including this podcast. So,
yes,
good times.
Good times. So
good session.
Yeah, my brain hurts. I was getting a little nauseous during what was the second one I played? I played Waddle Home and then
Oh My Genesis.
Yeah, Oh My Genesis. I was getting a little bit because. Again, VR, I kind of got into it to the extreme. We'll see.
More, I think, of just having the headset on for extended periods of time.
Yes. I can't play normal games in that headset.
Yeah. I haven't tried yet.
I tried playing Division, and the problem I have is I have the IMAX effect where I don't know where to... Like, I know where to look, but it happens so quickly that your brain's like, hold on, it's too much information too quickly.
Right.
I feel like a slower game would have been cool. Like, we literally just finished playing Axiom Soul, which will be up as a byte. Soul Axiom, sorry. Soul Axiom, which will be a byte. I feel like that would be better in that headset because you have
something slow.
Yeah, something slow paced. Because the Division is just like...
I do wonder, though, if having it strapped to your head as an FPS would give you that same sense of nausea that perhaps the VR does.
I don't know. I mean, I got a little woozy in Division, but back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, Tom, the last week? You always have a new TV show. Is there a new one this week?
Kind of. We're still watching how
to kill people.
Yeah, I forgot what that show's called now. How to Get Away with Murder?
Yes.
Yeah, How to Get Away with Murder. We're on the second season of that. I believe there's only 2 on Netflix, so we're kind of halfway through the second season. I still like it, but I feel that, and this is a general critique for any of these Shonda shows, like Grey's Anatomy and Scandal, is that I feel like they start out relatively, with a relatively good plot line, and then the plot line doesn't get bad, but it gets more and more and more extreme.
Oh.
It's like it gets to a point where there's how many bad things can happen to
themselves.
This group of people. Exactly. Like with Grey's Anatomy, you go from having usual hospital drama to oh my god, there's an active shooter, and then oh my god, there's a plane crash, and you're just at a point you're like, maybe let's just dial it back a bit and focus on the drama. But so I'm kind of getting to that point with How to Get Away with Murder. I still like it. I'm still watching it. Still dig it. Wife still loves it. So that's why it's on heavy rotation. The new show that I started watching alongside that is Stephen Fry in America.
Which is on Netflix.
And it's an old show. It's from 2008.
It was recommended to me from... You know how Netflix sends you the emails of you might like this? That was because I've been watching all the British documentaries that have shown up
they just put it on there pretty recently, and I feel like I've seen it before, but I've kind of forgotten everything about it. So we've been watching that, and it's always fun. The one major kind of thing that I've had happen out of it is as I'm watching the show and I'm seeing Steven react to the kind of the pomp and circumstance of certain places in America. Mm-hmm. So, for example, they had a college football game where they
which we talked about last week.
Which we talked about last week. bringing it all back. But there's a section where like the cheerleaders are going off, the marching band's going, like, everyone's screaming, they're singing the songs, and then fucking airplanes fly over the top of the thing, and it's just such a ridiculous sight. And he sort of sums it up because, you know, everything about this is absolutely ridiculous. It's so full of pomp and circumstance. It's so over the top. It's so American,
which is
but
we love
it's
it.
Also fucking great. Like,
so,
there's a certain sense.
So the school I went to Ole Miss, as I said last week on the episode, and I've said many times before. I go to Ole Miss, but we are known for our tailgating beforehand. We're known for kind of the pregame. We're known for being the party school. I went to a game. It was Ole Miss versus LSU in 2010, I believe, 9 or 10. I can't remember. And there's 110,000 people on campus.
Yeah.
Our stadium only holds 65,000. Let's start with there. 55,000.
Right.
55 or 65. Can't remember which. But there's a lot of people on campus. And on top of that, we have what's called the Grove, where you all just hang out together, kind of like at a normal stadium. You'd be in the parking lot. But
right.
The Grove is the grassy area that everybody hangs out. We have the Walk of Champions, where the football team comes up, walks through the Walk of Champions to the stadium. Marching band comes through with them. If we ever have game day there from ESPN, they set up there's a stage right there. Like, it's perfect. It's when you picture what a college campus looks like, and like picturesque is the Grove. And it's insane. I mean, I used to joke because people dress up to go to football games. I don't understand that. Like, I'm going to a football game to cheer on my team. I'm not there to get all fancy like and be like, bow tie.
It's weird. It's
I don't understand it.
It kind of reminded me, because when I first came over here, there were lots of things that I observed, like parades and things like that, and I was like, this is bizarre. This is a weird kind of thing, because we don't do any of that in England. With parades, no, not at all. You
shut down your town.
Barely do dancing, and it's kind of. And there's one scene where he goes to some place in Florida, and he's describing how much he hates Miami, because it just is so kind of false and just doesn't have the charm of like a Tennessee or whatever, some of the other places that he went to before. And he goes to some place where they pay these old guys to show up and dance with these ladies, because there's like a 10-to-1 ratio of women to men at this one particular place in Florida. So they pay these old ass guys that know how to dance to come over and dance with these women. And we're talking like 80 plus here. And he's like, I hate dancing. I hate it with every passion in my body. I hate it. And here's a weird thing. I love watching dancing. I hate actually dancing.
I feel like it's because you can't.
Probably. That remains to be seen. But at the same time,
we're gonna make Tom play Just Dance or dance. I have Dance Central on the Connect.
I will play it. I will play it.
I don't know
if I have. See, I don't consider that to be like normal dancing, because that's like I am copying someone on the screen,
still dancing,
as opposed to I am having to make up my own moves.
Do you do the lawnmower? Tom gets the lawnmower, maybe the sprinkler going on.
Don't know what that is. The only thing that I taught a few people at our workplace, and this was taught to me as a young child in England, was I didn't know how to dance to our EDM, our dance music, which is usually faster paced and and they said, oh, it's very, very easy. It's big fish, small fish, cardboard box. And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? And they said, it's like this. You go, and I'll do this to the camera for people that are watching at home.
So watch level2gamers.com and you'll see this.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes big fish, small fish, cardboard box. So you go boom, 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 and that's how you dance.
That's it, just over and over?
Just over and over. But like, if you don't know how to dance, man, that's the move right there. So yeah, we're
gonna need a group of people. We're gonna do a meetup sometime and have everybody do big fish, small fish, cardboard box.
But yeah, it's I hate dancing with a passion, and
Me too.
My wife hates that I hate dancing because she likes dancing, and it's a very English thing to hate dancing.
Well, Daniel Radcliffe. So speaking of English, Daniel Radcliffe,
king of
England,
king of all English,
king of England
people.
But what I know of England, but as you know, I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and they talked about in Goblet of Fire. Goblet of Fire, when they had the ball, teaching those kids how to dance, because they were teenagers at that point. They had not gone to very many school dances, and how awkward it was.
No, they never went to school much at all.
So Emma was knocking on Daniel, basically saying he has 2 left feet. It was so goofy, but you couldn't tell on camera. She's like, the cameraman and choreographers knew what they were doing. They would do it in chunks, get it done.
Right.
Cut to another scene, come back, make them look good. Because she goes, he he stepped on my feet a few times.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is, man.
I can't dance either.
I think it's this weird kind of self-conscious thing about, if you're drunk, that's one thing.
I still can't dance. I can pretend to dance.
Well, I'm not saying being drunk gives you the ability to dance. I'm saying being drunk takes away your fear of dancing. So you kind of, you let yourself go a bit more. But I don't drink, so for me that never happened.
One of the last times I got completely shit-faced, I spent about $110 in Jameson shots. My mom called me the next day because she could see my bank account.
Surprised you didn't have your stomach pumped.
Yeah, she goes, what the hell did you spend this money on at a bar? And I was like, Jameson. The band, my buddy's band was playing. There's nobody else really there. It was me, my sister, and a couple other people. And apparently I danced my ass off. But there's a video of me.
Does it still exist?
I think Mike has it. I can ask to see if Mike still has it.
I have to see.
But there's a video of me dancing during their set. It is just, it's ugly. It's ugly. He's like, you dance bad sober, you dance you dance horrible drunk. He goes, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but never do that again.
The worst thing I did when I was supremely inebriated, and there's been a few, I thought I could sing. But not regularly sing, because I can't sing regularly. No, I thought I could do screamo. Well drunk. So we were at a bar that I was DJing at that night. I used to the many secrets of my past. I used to do a rock DJ night. So I just play. They would just have me bring my. This is like I say DJ in like the loosest sense of the term. I would bring my CDs in and I would play songs that I liked. Yeah. And they gave me free whiskey. So that was
It's not a bad gig.
I get to listen to exactly what I want to listen to, and I get free drinks. So, I would play this kind of rock night every once in a while. And we had a band that played there the one night, and they left all of their instruments on stage. And so all of my buddies, who were equally as inebriated as me, picked up instruments and started playing a song. It was a jam session, so it was not a real song, but they just started playing heavier and heavier progressive riffs. I thought, this is a great time to grab the microphone and scream. So I picked up the microphone, and I'm just wailing into it, and in my head, greatest rock star in the world ever.
You're like, this is my big break.
Afterwards, when I was kind of, hungover, slumped in a corner somewhere, people were telling me how bad it was. But I've never been good at singing, especially that. But I do, and this is a half a promise to the Legion. I would like us for a Christmas special this year to maybe record us doing SingStar.
Maybe. I can't sing. So
nor can I. So that's the whole point.
So getting to singing, one of my most embarrassing moments when I was drunk singing, I feel like we'll do confession time now instead of our
tangent is continuing.
I was at school. We went. There's an Applebee's near us at school that would do karaoke nights. Let's just say I went to karaoke nights tend to be predominantly black. So it was a lot of hip hop, a lot of rap. And then me, the skinny white boy, goes up on stage and is like, let's play some Blink-182.
Oh,
and my favorite is there's this girl, I'm gone by this point, Haley, my best friend from college. I love you, Haley. I don't know if you listen or watch this, but
I love you too.
She pushed me a little bit to do this. She got me up on stage, and I decided to sing What's My Age Again by Blink-182. And all I hear from the crowd is, get it, white boy, get it! Just the stereotypical, you know what I'm talking about? Stereotypical, black lady voice.
You were... I can picture the scene.
Yeah.
I wish there was a video.
I don't think there's a video of that one, but that was pretty funny. And at that point, you really don't care, but looking back, you're just like, what was I doing?
There's many occasions that I've had that opinion. But yeah, so bringing it all back, Stephen Fry in America, he doesn't like dancing, and nor do I. So that's a good show, though, and I recommend that if you have Netflix that you watch it, because it's nice to see. It's nice to remind myself of the things that went through my head within the first year or so of being in this country. What about you?
So I'm going to start with, because we stopped with me saying I could not get into my PlayStation account. I am back in.
Yes, you're back.
I am back in. They unlocked it before we recorded, or last.
You got to stream
week
after all.
Yeah. So last week they unlocked the account, and then I never got an email or a phone call. I need to call what's his face. I'm not gonna say his name on air, but I need to call the engineer and say, what the hell? But I went to go try and activate my PS4, and it said, boop, done, cool.
Nice.
And I was able to get all my games. We streamed. I then did an impromptu stream yesterday, which would be
tried a VR
Monday. I tried VR to try a couple things, and Job Simulator. You can look. It's on both our YouTube channel and on its archive on Twitch as well.
Oh, good.
So if you want to follow us on Twitch, we stream a lot more.
Yeah,
Twitch.
we should point that out, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
We in case people are wondering why we don't use YouTube to stream so much anymore, we
hit with the copyright flag
in a spot of bother with copyright infringement. So we're basically on our kind of tippy toes around YouTube right now. So we are being very careful with what we put up. And as you may know, when it comes to certain times of year and they're holding conferences and things like that, me and Keegan tend to put up like a weird kind of amateur version of the stream alongside our viewpoints, and it's something that we love to do. We really enjoy doing it.
The companies don't love it.
God damn, those copyrights come in like axes being thrown at you.
We got, I think,
as soon as it goes up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we got 15 on Microsoft alone.
Wouldn't surprise me. So we got to a point where we're like, okay, we can't risk the channel, but we can risk Twitch.
Yes.
So we're going back to Twitch to do our streams.
We set up a new account. It's not Welcome to the Second Level anymore because it's too damn long. It is Level 2 Gamers STL. So if you go to twitch.tv/Level 2 Gamers STL, and I'm sure the little thing will pop up if you're watching this.
That's how to watch the streams.
Link will be down in the description as well, I believe. If not, you can find it on the main YouTube page. It'll be there as well.
Or just go to Twitch and search Level 2 Gamers.
Level 2 Gamers.
You'll find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so they're going up there instead of YouTube. And
but they're being archived on YouTube.
They are being archived.
I'm moving them over to YouTube when we're done.
Assuming that we don't get in trouble.
Yes. And we've not yet so far.
So far, so good. In fact, they've taken some copyright things off
we got an email from Nintendo. I don't know if it's actually Nintendo that copyrighted or somebody, but they pulled a couple away.
They took a couple off, which is, I think they just kind of leave it up there for a while, and then once they've rinsed you of all your money, they're like, okay,
done.
Don't care anymore. So. But yeah, I mean, there's occasions when we'll risk I recently put together the video of Barry's visit to us, and the end,
last Friday.
Yeah, last Friday. And you may have seen, if you've seen the video, you've seen the end of it, where I purposely chose a copywritten song to end it with, purely because artistically it made the most joy to me. And occasionally we'll forego that sort of thing, because let's face it, we're not big enough to be like worrying about
money.
Not making tons of money. We are yet to receive our first $50 check from YouTube. Yeah, we're getting there. We're like 34 or something like that. Yeah, something like that. We're getting there.
I have a feeling like in our 2-year mark is when we're finally going to get that.
Maybe we'll get paid finally, and we're going to take that $50 and we're going to spend it on.
We're going to frame it, and put it back
something.
Here.
Yeah, we'll frame it. We'll have it in shot. But we are figuring out some really cool stuff recently. I don't think they've seen it this week, but next week we should have that really awesome new way of doing VR. Which we've been working on as far as how it's presented.
It'll be, I'm trying to think, because it'll be the week, it'll go up the week this podcast goes up.
Yeah, it'll go up this Thursday.
Yeah. So this Thursday, be on the look of the new way we're shooting VR. We kind of talked about how to be a little bit more engaging with it, because those first few videos was nice, just hanging out with Jordan. It kind of like, it was the way we used to record with Jordan, is just hanging out, chilling. But I think the way we have recorded pretty much going forward now is a lot nicer. It's way more engaging. It's very much...
We're trying to keep the tempo up. The problem with me and Keegan is that we record everything in one day and it has to last us usually for
I got here at 11:30 and it's now 5:30.
Yeah, it's been a long day. And, it's something that...
Especially
it's
VR.
Very difficult. That you have to remember when you're watching these videos, I guess we have to remember when you're watching these videos, you're watching them for the first time.
It's either a week in between or it's the first time you're seeing them.
Right. And for us, it might be the 8th video we've done that day. So occasionally we are just exhausted. We're just kind of we've been doing this for a while. So to maintain that level of enthusiasm is difficult.
Yes. We've been putting more effort into it, though.
We have been putting more effort in. Hopefully it comes across as noticeable in the upcoming weeks to you. But the VR stuff, we have a really neat way of doing that now, which I think is way more exciting, way more fun to watch. The bites they're kind of more focused now on determining whether it is worth your money or not. Our reviews are going to change up a little bit. I'm still doing reviews the way that I've always done reviews. Keegan is going to join us with reviews. He
last week was the first one, but it's not a new review.
Yeah, so Keegan sort of tried doing my style of review and basically didn't enjoy it.
I couldn't do it without feeling like I wasn't myself,
right.
essentially.
Which is not what we want. We want to be ourselves 100% honest and true to you. So rather than Keegan imitating kind of the style that I was putting out for reviews, he's going to, in fact, do a completely different style of review altogether, more based upon how he would review something for you. So you're going to get two different styles of review, my style and his style, and hopefully that, again, gives you more
And they will say,
variation.
if you prefer one style or the other, that will say Tom reviews, Keegan reviews in the title, so that way they know what you guys are getting into.
So going forward, you'll know if it's my style or his style, and so on and so forth. But then also we have a couple, fun Friday things coming up.
Working on more tutorials.
You're working on video tutorials. I'm working on more personal projects. I'm going to do one based upon my hip hop career in England. I'm going to do one based upon my pets, which it sounds like a weird idea for a Friday video, but that's what Friday videos are for. And then we may also start going out a bit more into.
I thought about doing a day in the life of Keegan, but then I was like, it's real boring. I wake up.
Actually, that's a good question for these guys. Is there listening or watching? Is there something you want to see for Friday? Because Friday is whatever the fuck for us. Like, we'll just do whatever. So if you want to see a day in the life of Keegan, or if you want to see me do something in particular, then let us know. Drop it in the comments, or hit Keegan on Twitter at STL at Level 2 Gamers STL, and let us know if there's anything you kind of want to know about our life. Like, if it's something like, what's your setup look like for each thing, or how do you do lighting, or any kind of general YouTube-y stuff, or even personal stuff, we're pretty open to it.
I think we've nailed our setups. I mean, we're not the most professional looking, but we do our best with what we got.
Yeah, we definitely do our best with what we've got.
Literally, so the couch, I mean, you can see the couch in the background here, but we sit over there when we're recording VR. PS4 is literally right here. I'm turning the camera up, it's too far away. PS4, if you're listening, PS4 is behind me.
My basement is not large. Your
basement is long, it's not deep.
Yeah, so it's hard for VR sections specifically, but we make the best of what we got, and hopefully you guys appreciate it.
I think we joked about it on the podcast last time, where we look way more professional than we actually are a lot of the times.
Yeah,
which is nice, and then we have moments where we're like, that was dumb.
Yeah.
So, but it keeps you humble. I mean, it makes you realize.
Exactly. We're not a big YouTube channel. We would love to be a big YouTube channel, but the only way that's going to get about is by improving our quality of content, and you guys
sharing with your friends, family.
And
word of mouth is the biggest and best way.
Yeah, that's all we can ask for, and we're trying to rep St. Louis more as well. I've been
you've been pushing that hard,
putting some stickers up a little bit. I'm going to start handing out some business cards to people that I see. I've seen a lot of people come up to me and compliment me on various video game things. Like, I had a PlayStation beanie that I was wearing the other day, and a couple guys commented on it. So I'm going to start handing out. There's his flashy new business card.
If you're watching it, I'm flashing it to the camera. If you're listening, I just pulled out a new business card that we designed not too long ago.
Yeah, but I'm going to start handing those out, I think, to some folks, and just being like, you should check us out, and then see if we can get a little bit of a following going there. But of course, we do appreciate every single solo person that ever tunes in or watches anything.
Especially from all, it's really cool. I mean, again, we completely got off topic, but what's
a topic?
Yeah. It's the looking at stats and kind of seeing where people watch us from, to me, is the coolest and weirdest thing in the world. Obviously, I expect the United States to be number one, just because that's where we're based. And that's kind of when we upload the videos, that's the one I took into account, because that'll probably be the biggest audience. Number two usually is UK, partially that's because of you. And then from there it goes like Canada, and it goes Afghanistan, it goes Australia.
It's incredible, the Middle
Germany,
Eastern
and you're just like, what is happening, dude? Our podcast, the first podcast we put up, was it Sweden that it just went whoop, and we're like, what the hell? Like, it makes, in my head, it makes no sense.
In Facebook, we have a really large Vietnamese following for a joke reason that was never going to go away.
Yeah,
but if you were watching us as far back as when we were doing the Final Fantasy episode Dusk Let's Play, you'll remember where that came from.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a wild ride so far, and
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
lots of fun.
So I think let's move on to topic. Do you think
topic?
Do we have a topic?
We didn't. You kind of came up with one.
I kind of came up.
It was funny because like we were sitting here and we didn't get a question from somebody again for Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/level2gamersstl. That is my shameless plug of probably many of this podcast. Go check it out. Go check it out there. If you support $5 more, you can choose a topic for us to play. There's other perks as well. You don't have to support us in any way, shape, or
Dude,
form.
$1 a month is killing it for us. Anything you can spare, or just watch, share, and like the videos, because that's more important than anything to us.
So we don't have a topic for today because we didn't really look, and I'm still waiting on Wheezy to get me a good one. Well, get us one. I won't say a good one.
Wheezy, by the way, when we say his name, he's the guy that made our animated intro, and he's also working on a nice full-length version, which is what we were initially going to release. We never had chance because, frankly, time was a bitch.
And he had some things pop up, too, and now holidays are happening. So.
Lots of bad things happened around that time, so but Wheezy is going to finish up our full-length, so you'll get to hear the full level 2 intro rap in all of its glory.
Make that Big Boss less special.
Yeah.
It ain't no game.
Go from there.
But
I was actually thinking about trying to get Matt to do something for the show since he made the intro and everything, and maybe just like record himself doing some stuff.
Yeah, so those of you who don't know, Matt is Trip Buck, I think is his
Yes, you nailed
name.
it. Yeah.
We always put in the description. That's one of the things he asked is he didn't want, I don't think, we didn't pay him anything. He just we just kind of like, I want you to put my name in the description of all the videos, so we do that, and it's on the podcast. If you look at the link down below, we've got a link, I think, to his Facebook page. Yeah,
so basically, I used to do hip-hop with two guys, Kev and Matt. Matt goes by the MC name of Trip Buck, that's TRIPBUK, and Kev goes by the producer/DJ name of Kamos, or Kamos, KAMOS, which is, by the way, not funny, but, trade secret. His name is Kev Amos, so Kamos.
So you just
it's
kind of like MySkerm. He got his name from his email.
There you go.
Because his name is Bob MySkins, so it's MySkerms.
But yeah, they still do stuff. So if you look at Kamos and Trip Buck on iTunes or whatever, they're up there. They make music similar to what you hear in our intro. But yeah, those guys. Yeah. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get them to record a little something for me, just to maybe put in the rap one, just to talk about the early days or whatever.
Yeah.
But
so, bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. We tend to do that a lot. Bring it back.
Topic is free
to play. So we literally sat down and like, we don't have a topic. And that's where that whole tangent, we tend to go on tangents a lot, where the whole tangent came from. But basically, it was, what are we going to talk about? And you'll see coming up, we have a bunch of free-to-play games coming, and we're kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, we didn't really think about it. It was just like, this time of the year, there's not very many indie games, not very many of those AA games, outside of VR, that have caught our attention to a certain extent. And we're going back through and like, what did we miss on PSN? So free to play is a good place to start. We went through our library. You literally just try to download everything on your device today.
Didn't realize I didn't have that much space.
Yeah.
That 1 terabyte hard drive really doesn't seem like 1 terabyte at all. It's like 550, which is super fucking disappointing for me because I was like, get all the things. But it didn't work out so well. But
we went back through. We played Hawken. We played Cat Lateral Damage. No,
it was Kitten Squad.
Cat Lateral Damage was the other one I wanted to play. The other cat game.
The other cat.
I have. Yeah.
Of many.
Kitten Squad and what was the other one? Soul Axiom was paid.
Soul Axiom.
That was paid.
Which was a paid game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the basic reason is obviously coming up to the holidays, lots of new PS4 owners. And we try and do other consoles, but the PS4 is always what we come back to because A, it's the one that we both have. B,
it's the one we play a lot.
It's the one that we get the most codes for. C, we don't do PC gaming really. Like we do some when at a push, but
my PC gaming basically, and it made me very upset that Planet Coaster's not Mac based, but it has to be Mac based for me because I've officially deleted Windows off of my computer because it was causing some issues.
Yeah.
Those of you who don't know, we both run Macs. Clearly, there's a Mac right here. We run Macs.
We are.
And I have nothing against PCs. It's just that's what we have.
We are Apple Famalama for life.
I love it because I edit on Final Cut, so that's why I have a Mac.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. And Final Cut is awesome.
Yes. Anyways, I keep cutting you off.
That's okay. But so basically, So the idea is that we have this kind of new version of the PS4 now that got released, a slim version, a little cheaper, and then the Pro. Lots of people picking up PSVR, obviously around this time of year. I expect there to be an explosion in VR headset sales sometime around the holidays, which I think will be great for the format and for the fact that there's going to be a lot more people buying those games and encouraging developers to dig deeper into it. But there are folks that maybe get their PS4 or their parents get them a PS4 and they don't necessarily have a whole bunch of money lying around to go and pick up all these games.
Prime example, when I got my PS4, I got it for Christmas in 2014. It was the year. It was the year the Division was supposed to come out.
Year of our Lord, 2014.
Yeah, it was the year the Division was supposed to come out, and it never did. So I got it that year. In the 2 games I got at launch, or I say launch, when I guess it's not launch, when I got it, was Destiny and Madden. And those were my 2 games. Like, I didn't have money to buy anything else. And Destiny ended up sucking, so it was a Madden machine. And I know that feeling of not having anything else to play. Like, what do I do? And that's when I started exploring PlayStation Network. Being an Xbox guy that came over, I did not know anything about PlayStation, other than I know you have weird Japanese games. Like Final Fantasy is a PlayStation game.
It is a weird Japanese company, therefore we have weird Japanese games.
So I know that feeling very much so of like, what do we play? So that's
how do I build up my library?
Yes, and whether it's good, bad, we kind of want to, as we've said before with like the bites, the goal with is kind of wading through the shit so you can get the good stuff.
I mean, mostly we're aiming for lower tier games, but free is the lowest of lower tier games.
Yes.
However, the other thing about free to play, of course, is that you also have this kind of element of play to win.
Mm-hmm. Don't die. You also have a negative connotation.
But yeah, so obviously that's a negative connotation, and microtransactions in general are not generally seen as being something that...
Because the developers still have to make money, so the way they do that is through microtransactions, which I have no issue against, personally, other than if it completely skews the gameplay experience.
I think it's okay on free to play, but I dislike it very much on a game you've paid money for.
If you paid $60, I think the only time you should pay more for a game, and this is going to be very... heated/debated topic, is DLC, and to me DLC is maps or expanded levels. No skins,
I agree.
None of that bullshit.
I agree 100%. I don't think it's that controversial. I think DLC, when done right, is absolutely worth money. I think maps for multiplayer based games are worth it. I do think skins and stuff are stupid.
I remember when Halo was free.
Yeah, a lot of DLC used to be free for the kids that didn't know that. But free to play, there's a vast library of games that if you go into the PSN store and get into
go under the free section.
Yeah, there's literally a free section that just has all these games in there, and there's some really cool stuff like DC Universe and things like that. But then there's a lot of stuff that people just skip over. Lots of mobile ports are in there. Like Adventure Capitalist was one that we played as a bite previously, and so we played a couple of those. We played Hawken, and then we played the Kitten Squad game too, which was developed by PETA, which is kind of interesting.
Which is weird. But I feel like, so part of the thing right now, especially with PlayStation 4 being the front runner, is I feel like it's like the Wii was, where a lot of these lower tier games are being ported to the PS4 because the audience is there. Like, they're not going to port it to Xbox, and Nintendo is just garbage right now. Let's hope the Switch fixes that. But
all praise the Switch. I hope it works out.
I hope. I don't think it will. Personally,
this shirt here is my the N64. That's the last decent Nintendo console that I remember.
Yeah, same here. But I feel like PS4 is becoming the place to dump a lot of these free to play games, which is not a bad thing.
Always content is good.
Yes,
but if you remember the Wii and kind of how skewered that library got, it was definitely made it
hard to find it.
Yeah.
Which is, again, kind of...
But those were mostly... Sorry to interrupt, but those were mostly physical games on the Wii, though, weren't they?
Well,
whereas a lot of these are digital.
Well, it's because Nintendo has not figured out digital. Save the life.
That's true.
They still haven't figured out digital.
No, not at all.
I think... So it's funny because, like, the Switch, or... I haven't seen anything that tells me that the Switch has physical media outside the cards, which I don't have an issue with if it's a mobile thing, which it is. I think it's funny because, like, the Wii U, I had no issue plugging a disc into that. PlayStation 4, I have an issue plugging a disc in, and Xbox, I have an issue plugging a disc in. But Wii U, I'm just like, it's fucking Nintendo. It's just the way it is.
Digital, I think, is digital versus physical is a conversation we've had before. Yeah. You can go way back in our podcast and find our conversation on that. But we have differing opinions. Although, to be honest, I'm leaning more towards your side of the fence on that these days. But
see, I was upset because I had the issue with my PSN account where I'm like, I can't access any of my games right now, but if I had a disc, I could play them.
Yeah.
So it's always a catch-22.
Twos and pros.
So,
but
it's a different discussion.
But free to play is something that I think has a right to exist.
Yes.
I do hope that people treat it with respect, though. The one thing we were commenting on while we were playing Hawken was that it's nice to have kind of a free to play game that does have effort put into it, because the only way that those free-to-play games stay afloat is if people are investing themselves in the microtransactions. That's how the developers stay afloat. So obviously if you have a free-to-play game, technically the audience should always be there unless the game is trash, and they should want to invest in the additional bonuses and perks of a free-to-play game unless the game is trash. So the game has to have a good kind of base, a good skeleton before you're gonna it's even worth putting out.
And with that too, the skeleton has to be something that is, even if you don't choose to upgrade, if you're that guy that just
you can still play,
you don't feel overwhelmed by people, like you're saying, the pay to win. Prime example is with Kitten Squad, was the only thing I saw on there was you could do skins, which free to play, I don't have an issue with skins. To me, because you're making a choice. Like, you have your character, but
cosmetics, I think, are always acceptable as a pay item.
Or like with Hawken, it was, I'm pointing to the TV. With Hawken, it was you had the skins. You had the shark skin. It was the first thing that popped up when we loaded. Right. It's like, here's a new shark skin. Which, again, I have no issues with skins if I don't pay for the game. Right. Period. It's when I pay for the game I have an issue with it. On top of it. But
I think even honestly, even if I pay for the game, skins could be okay depending on the game.
Yeah, see, Division I have an issue because I could pay for clothing. I'm not paying for clothing.
Yeah, which is, again, it's an option though. It's not something you're forced into doing.
Yeah. Well, what sucks is, so the way I look at it, with it comes to like free to play or any of this kind of stuff, is I should have a way of getting that in the game naturally. Right. It should take longer, but I should have a way of actually getting that.
Do you remember PlayStation Home?
No.
Okay, so you never had a PS3, right?
I've never played PlayStation. I've never played a PlayStation until, well, I don't want to say never played PlayStation, but I've never owned a PlayStation. PlayStation 4.
So let me give you a walk down history lane. So PlayStation 3 had this little community hub called PlayStation Home, and is
it like the Miiverse?
Kind of.
Okay.
Basically, you had an avatar that you created, and there were these kind of hub worlds that were completely 100% social. So you would go in as your avatar. There would be things going on, like there was like a cinema you could go to watch trailers and even some like short movies. There was areas that were based on themes of games, like Uncharted or whatever. There was arcade cabinets in there. You could win clothing from doing various awards and things like that, and competing in some of these tasks. Or what most people do would just hang out and talk, which was my favorite thing to do. And I was heavy into PlayStation.
This is back when chat rooms.
Yeah, it was like a PlayStation chat room, exactly. I met a lot of friends there that I still talk to on a daily basis, that I have on my Facebook and things like that, and all of them were kind of crushed when Home went away. There was and this is a fun story that my wife can attest to. There was a group of people in Home that were aliens, and they were called homelings. And hopefully anyone listening to this can attest to this. Basically, homelings were you ever play like Habbo Hotel or anything like that in the older versions? Okay. Nope. So it was a cult. It was a cult of people that would all wear a white spacesuit, and they would have bald heads, and just they were supposed to be aliens was the whole sort of theme of it. You would basically the whole point of being a homeling was to like get other people to be homelings, and it was like a mother figure, and they had like this whole like structure of like generals and colonels and all this kind of stuff.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was, and I was a general. I was like literally one of the first people that joined the homelings, and
you're a dork.
I am. A fucking dork. And I swear to God, this is true. Like, you can ask anyone. I was one of the originators of the homelings, and they had like their own websites, and they would put in PlayStation Magazine and things like that, and it was just kind of cool to have this kind of like second life.
You belong to a group, essentially.
Right, exactly.
I mean, online group.
And I really feel like that is sorely missing as far as free-to-play, because free-to-play games are one thing, but free-to-play social, where and people would literally every week when Home was out, they would release items into the Home store, and they were cosmetic items. They were like hats and suits and shirts and things like that, and like items for your room, because they gave you a house, a pet eventually, this other kind of crap. But it was a great idea that went to the wayside. But the people that loved it really fucking loved it.
One of the things I think that they're trying to do with like communities is bring some of that back. The problem I have with that though is there's no real voice chat. Like you can't. I don't know if you guys are aware of Discord, but Discord's a really cool thing where we have one. We don't really go in there that often just because I have so much other things going on.
Yeah, we need more folks, really, to keep that alive better. But we do love the people that do hang out there.
But Discord essentially is you have different rooms that you go into, and as the admin, you can set them up, and you just hop from room to room. So maybe there's a room that's for gaming talk, or maybe there's a room that's for racing talk, or whatever it may be. And you're part of this large group, and then you divide up into interests. I think that's what communities is supposed to be on both PlayStation and Microsoft, but I don't think they did it the way they should have because there's no voice.
What I'm hearing right now from a lot of folks is that VR would be the best place to implement that style of thing.
Well,
especially with the sports
whatever within. What's the wolf within?
The wolf within. Yeah, that's kind of I mean that's a good example of that kind of thing. But again, that's a game.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about like
just hanging out
with Sports Bar. It's a hangout style game. You can see the other people because you can see them like wiggling their move controllers around and their little helmets and everything. And the people that have played it, there's a pretty good community there of people that are just like they just go there to fuck around.
Yeah.
And I think that a home is definitely something that could thrive with VR, being as it's a lot more personable because you have that VR headset on. You can, feel like you're really in this second life, if you will. And you could do video chat. You could potentially do some form of text. I don't know how you do it with the Move controllers.
Picture like the Sims essentially with VR. I mean, that's what it is, but instead of being a game, it'd be real life.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of social aspects they have not tapped into or even attempted really to tap into with VR right now.
It's also in its infancy, so hopefully.
But if you could imagine something like that being free, in terms of back to our free-to-play thing,
which
Home originally was, it was 100% free unless you wanted to buy cosmetic items.
Yes, and one of the things that gets me excited about that is like Facebook's, and as much as I don't like Facebook when it comes to privacy and all that kind of stuff, they will be the ones that kind of push that forward.
Yeah,
because they own Oculus, they paid billions of dollars for Oculus, they're going to do something with it.
Yeah,
who knows what that is? But
I am excited to see what they do.
I'm excited.
Sony are tapped into that.
Yes.
But I don't think they're taking advantage of it the way they could do.
And it's funny because, I mean, Sony has the advantage to do it because they have the cheapest headset right now.
Right.
Period.
Absolutely.
Cheapest, decent headset.
And a built-in user base of millions of people.
Yes. So,
I mean, that are literally gagging for the next VR option. So I hope someone at Sony is looking at that and looking to bring a free-to-play VR experience in, even if it's just on a social way, because I think that would take off and that would be next level. It would be hard to pry some people out of their VR headsets.
Yeah, or even if it's a mix VR non-VR, because the issue you'd have right now with VR is just the small pools of like, say 10% of the people do that experience. Well, of those 10% of those people, how many of them actually have things similar to you?
But that makes it exclusive, and that makes it more of a reason for people without the headset to want to get one to join the exclusive social club of VR Home or whatever.
Yeah.
So definitely a mixture would be fine, and especially like, if you had people that didn't have the headset and maybe didn't have a microphone, you could like visually see like their bubble of speaking or whatever. But it's a combination would be.
You don't have an avatar on PlayStation anymore, do you? At all? It's just the
not really
icon.
Yeah, you have a little icon, but anyway, that was my current thoughts on free to play, and we're not ignoring it at all. We're bringing it into the fold a little bit, and you're going to see some of that coming up on bites that we have coming forward.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what about what's coming up?
What's coming up? I don't really know what's coming up next week. I finally all my family stuff is done. My dad left this morning, last night. I don't remember when he left. He's back in Florida. He's going back to Florida.
You were drunk at the time.
I was not drunk. I had to pick him up from the airport. So, like I said last week, my dad came from. My family's in Florida for vacation for Thanksgiving, so I'm not going to be there. I'm going to hang out with Grandma instead. But he came here to come visit Grandma and some other reasons, and then he's going back down there. And I honestly don't know what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to probably play just a bunch of video. I want to get back in VR. I played Job Simulator for a little bit, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it. The problem I have is I'm a social gamer. And right now I don't know enough people with VR headsets that have the same games as I do to do that, and there's not very many multiplayer experiences yet.
You should look at like Rigs or...
I can't play Rigs, though. It makes me sick.
Oh,
That's
really?
the problem. Yeah,
similar to Windlands in that way.
Yeah, it makes me sick. But
I will say that I started off feeling a little queasy with Rigs and got very quickly used to it. So you might want to try it.
I can try it. I'll play the demo. Yeah. I played it 3 times, I think, and I just within
I had a
5,
great.
10
I
minutes,
never
was
got
like, nope.
sick in the slightest. I got the inertia from jumping, but I never got.
Well,
sick.
what James told me to do is there's a mode where you can change it to where you're head tracking instead of using the stick, and I might do that. Maybe that'll make you a little bit better.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's default. Because
I was using the stick.
See, I was looking around and head tracking everything.
I mean, it still head tracks, but not to the like when you head track, not to move that way.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So by default,
just for aiming.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I might try that and see how it goes.
You should try Sportsfire VR as well.
That's on my list. I have the credit from Sony. I was waiting for the Black Friday deals, which as of recording went today.
Yeah, pretty good. Not bad.
There was quite a few. I already own majority of those games.
I have to start
or don't care
pleading the missus a little bit to pick a few of those up because there's some in there that are a low enough price that I feel like it would be silly not to get them.
I'm disappointed there's no VR for it though.
Yeah,
it's new enough, so I kind of understand it, but at the same time,
I do wonder when they're going to start putting that in rotation on like the PS Plus games.
I would love that.
like that.
To me,
we're
far enough in the generation, in my opinion, that we should not have PS3, PS Plus games. Partially because they're not backwards compatible. So
I would feel bad for PS3 owners to take them away.
I'm sorry, you gotta upgrade. I mean, that's just the way it is. Let's be honest. Like,
how mean are you?
It's the truth though. Like, how far back do you go back then? Why are we not still doing PlayStation 1? Why are we still not doing
because it wasn't connected to the internet.
I know, but see what I'm saying though? How far forward? Like, do we keep PS3 going forward till eternity? At some point, there's a drop off.
I get what you're saying. I do think that at this point, like there are like Vita owners that are literally living like month to month on those free games because the Vita got abandoned so hard. So I don't think we're there yet.
But the Vita,
that are just
cross by though with PS4.
True, but there's a lot of people that are just now picking up a PS3 because there are people that are a generation behind. They've just been using the PS2 for all these years, and they don't have your monies.
But to me, Sony should reward those people that are staying with them for paying the $400 for the new headset, that are paying for the PS4 Pro
with better content.
Yeah, they should reward you, whether it's a PS Plus Plus, the double plus plus. But like it should give you, or even like if it's an option of like, what do you own? And give you like, okay, I own
Would
a PS4.
Would you like to replace this
and I own
indie game with a VR game instead, or something like that? I don't think there's enough of a library yet for that. But
I agree. There's only like 60 something.
It would be nice, at least to have like a VR blowout sale at some point, because I know it's coming. It's got to be coming. But I think they're going to wait probably a good year into the life cycle before they start to
when PSVR 2 comes out and drops.
I fucking hope not. I don't want to have to do another.
Well, I think it's funny.
Fund me.
Yeah, I think it's funny because like, as you know, I was hyped for VR. I'm super excited for VR, and I love when I get in it. And it's weird because a lot of times I forget how much I love it until I play it again.
You're absolutely right.
And it's like, okay, like it's a pain to set up sometimes. It's not that bad, but it's enough that I question whether I want to play that game or if I want to play The Division or something else that's just pick up the controller and play. But once I do it, I don't regret it.
I almost feel like I've been ruined to regular gaming at this point. The only thing that's kind of holding out hope for me is Final Fantasy, because I bought Deus Ex for cheap. And because I've been wanting to play that for a while, the new Deus Ex.
Mankind Divided?
I think so, yeah.
I think.
And I started playing it. I was like, this just isn't the same. And so then I went and put on a Time Machine at the time, Time Machine VR, and I was just like, whoa. You know, and it's like, and I kind of instantly was like, man.
See, I'm the opposite. I've been playing way more non-VR games. Because, again, I think it's also partially because I jumped in VR so heavy that initial weekend where I'm like, I need to take a step back. But when we come and do these bites, when I play Time Machine and I see these games that are coming out, and also the other thing is I spent so much money on the first 3 weeks of VR that I'm like, I need to slow down on that. So I've not gotten anything new.
I am happy those games are coming thick and fast, though. Yes. I feel like we get at least 3.
As I say, there's at least 2 to 3 every week.
Yeah, which is definitely a good pace.
And they're decent. They're decent games for the most part.
They're decent games. Pricing is variable.
Yes,
it's weird how Robinson is still $60 on the PSN store, but you can get it for $30 to $40 everywhere else.
Well, PlayStation never discounted
that was some weird byproduct thing. Some weird like. There's an actual reason for that, I think, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, so we'll be moving forward. We're going to keep the show going, obviously, and we're going to try and make it better quality-wise and clean a few things up. And I've put out a couple times on social media asking or requesting for you guys to tell us how you like the new style. You know, if you're digging it as far as the podcast, as far as the reviews and all the kind of newer things, and also the Friday episodes. whether you think the bites are useful or not, how you like our VR coverage. Like, we really are desperate almost for feedback at this point.
I was like, some of it is thumbs up, thumbs down. So I heard a streamer the other day. I was watching him play, and he put it beautifully, and I'm going to steal his line directly. He basically said, I don't care if you enjoy or hate my content. If you enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. If you hate it, give it a thumbs down. If you do either one of those, let me know why.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's beautiful, because like he's like, I don't want you to thumbs down and leave because I don't know what I need to fix. I also don't want you to thumbs up because I told you to thumbs up if you don't like it. Like, let me know what you want. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a solid point. So we'll take any feedback, good or bad.
Rate on iTunes. I mean, that's another thing.
iTunes is a big one for us because, again, like we've said before, we have no way of knowing you guys are listening to us. So if you rate us on iTunes, or if you want to drop a comment in there, and I know that you can like comment on podcasts and stuff, or if you help over just SoundCloud and drop a comment there, because that's our hub base for the podcasts.
You can do all that on SoundCloud.
All of that. Any feedback whatsoever. We're desperate to hear it at this point because it's been a week or two since we started our
1 week
thing.
Since you looked at me.
And we just want to know that we're doing the right thing and that you guys are enjoying it as much as we're enjoying making it. Because I think we're both in a better place.
Yeah, everything I've heard from word of mouth of the people around us that talk to us enjoy the podcast, which I partially like assumed because so many people wanted us to do one, which I find weird because I'm not very thoughtful. I just say shit and it comes out. And I just think it's funny that people want to listen to our opinions at times, but there's been some great feedback from people I know that are like, like David is a prime example. David watches pretty much everything we do, and
gotta love David.
Yes,
shout out Mr. Diaz.
He I didn't tell you. I gotta tell you. So if you weren't on the stream on Sunday, Overwatch, we had a bunch of YouTubers in there because you didn't join us because you had something else going on.
I have plenty of things.
So it was me, Cody from the Dream Saga, who was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. Matt from Co-opted Gaming, who I met in Indie PopCon. Devin from Gaming in Progress, who I met at Indie PopCon. And then Trigado Power James, who I met various different places. One Shot, Mod, Indie PopCon. But David was the only one in that group that did not have a YouTube account. So the whole time during the chat, we were trying to come up with a YouTube account. I might have made him a YouTube account without him knowing it. It's called Macaroni and Dave.
Wow.
So that's one of the comments that came up, and I decided to make one. I want to make a logo for it. I've been busy doing other stuff because it obviously is not taking precedence over other things, but I've downloaded the macaroni font. I've got it ready to go. So David, if you're listening, I know you're probably listening to this. You've got a YouTube channel. I probably will tell you before this goes up, but you've got a YouTube channel that...
Let it be a surprise. Don't tell him. Let him listen and find out today.
I'll give
right
you,
now, David, in your ears, you're discovering that you are a YouTube sensation.
I will give you the password to it. I didn't know your birthday, so I faked your birthday. So I'll give you the password to it, and you can upload whatever the hell you want there. If not, then I'll just upload shit, just random stuff. I'll just like go to the store and just
walk around and film him.
No, I was thinking just like filming like macaroni and like when I see him, do like one-offs and just
that's fine.
Film him.
Just hand him a box of macaroni and walk away.
Here you go, macaroni and Dave. So,
all right. Well, we should wrap up.
Yes.
We decided not to go as long this time as last time. If you haven't listened to last week's podcast, please do because that was
it was a deep one.
It was deep, and it's probably my favorite thing that we've done in a long time. So we really, if you like this podcast, you will love last week's podcast.
My dad loved it. We listened to it a little bit in the car together. It's weird listening to myself, though.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
That was a bit heavy to listen to with my dad. I don't think I could do that, but it's...
well, he laughed. He smirked when I talk about him. He's like...
Really?
Yeah.
He likes it?
Yeah.
Shout out to your dad.
Good old David.
Good old
not David from the Stream Team. The other David.
They call him Mr. Vi.
Mr. Vi.
But yeah, we love you guys so much, and we appreciate all of you guys' thoughts and everything that you give to us as a channel. We really hope that you do enjoy what we do and that you will continue to support us in any way that you can. And why are you hiding behind your pop filter?
That's late. I'm tired.
We're going to get out of here, and we'll leave you with the content coming up for the rest of the week, which I believe is... What have we got coming up? We got a review tomorrow.
Swiss Army?
So he's Swiss Army Man,
yes.
Otherwise known as the Farting Corpse movie.
Yes. You showed me that review, and I was like... Thanks, Harry Potter man.
It's a weird little movie. So that'll be up tomorrow. You guys can enjoy that. And then for the rest of the week, who knows? I'm not
well,
sure
the new VR on Thursday. We do
have
know that.
Oh, yeah, new VR style to look out for.
And I don't know which bite's going. We It's late. We have a calendar. We know what's going up. We just don't know off the top of our heads.
We kind of know, and if there's big question marks there, we'll fill them in a day or two before.
Yep.
But as always, thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, thank you for listening.
If you're listening, you can check us out at Level 2 Gamer or www.level2gamers.com.
Yeah.
Or
if
follow
you
us
want
on
to
Twitter at Level 2 Gamers.
put a face to the voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to listen to us, go to iTunes and search for Level 2 Podcast.
If you think we're hideous and you don't want to have to deal with this, then you can do it that way.
Yes.
I always like listening to podcasts on the way to work. I do too. On a good long commute.
I have an audiobook though right now that's taking my stuff. I listen to Kind of Funny a lot though if I'm not listening to the audiobook. The audiobook. On that note,
thanks
for watching, guys.
And as always,
welcome to the second level. Bye.
So thank you so much for watching our podcast. It's worth pointing out that this podcast is also available in audio format from any good podcasting site, really. We're talking about iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, you name it. So if you don't feel like seeing our ugly faces, you can just listen to our ugly voices instead.
Your voice is pretty because it's English.
Thanks.